If you're looking for a portable power station to power your music gear, today we're checking out the AC200L by Bluetti. This is a power station with 2048 watt-hours of power, and you can expand that with external batteries, which will up that to about 7,500 watt-hours. And if you don't know what that means, I'm going to go over that in this video. It has multiple inputs and outputs for AC, DC, and USB. It's very quiet. It doesn't make a lot of loud noises like other generators. It's got a built-in battery. You don't need gas or anything like that to use it. You can charge it with a wall outlet. You can use it with solar panels. You can also charge it in a car as well, and they give you the cables for all of those options. I got to use this live at some of my shows recently with some of my bands. I'm going to share my experience with you and see if this is something that's right for you and your needs. My channel specifically specializes in music gear. However, if you're just looking for a power station, I think you can also find this video helpful. I've actually been looking at getting something like this for the last couple of months now. Recently, I've had to play just so many places that just had shady power or iffy power. So when Bluetti reached out, it was perfect timing, and they are the sponsor of today's video. As always, all the opinions in this video are my own, and if you use promo code ScottYuleMusic at checkout, you can get 5% off of your entire order. I do love this thing. I'm going to continue to use it, but we're going to go over and see if this is something that is right for you and your needs. That's enough of the intro. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let's go ahead and get started. So just going over some of the inputs and outputs that you have. So let's go ahead and turn it on. And you have this nice display screen right here. It will tell you your AC and DC inputs and outputs, the battery life, how many hours you can use this based on how many watts you're drawing and stuff like that. Pretty helpful, and I'll go over it a little bit more as we go through the video. But first, you have 4 of the AC outputs. These are 20 amp outputs. Bonus tip, when you see this little line going sideways next to the left spot where you plug in, that means it's a 20 amp circuit. If you don't see this, it likely means that it's a 15 amp circuit. Just a bonus tip. You also do have a spot to plug in for a 30 amp output as well. You also do get 2 USB-C ports and 2 USB-A ports. Over here on the left, you have your DC outputs. So you have one that's like a cigarette lighter output, and then another one that has a different connection. And it does come with some cables that pair with this, and I'll show you that later. Controls are pretty simple. If you want to use the USB power, push the USB button. Now the USB ports work. If you don't, turn it off. If you want the AC power to work, turn that on. And if you want the DC power to work, turn that on. And you get a little indicator at the bottom right of the screen when you're doing this. So I'm going to turn on the AC output, and I'm going to plug in my Line 6 Helix. And you can see as it's plugged in, it's drawing about 30 watts of power, which is not much. I have my Helix here off screen, but here's just proof that it's plugged in. I'm going to plug into this one, and I'm going to plug into my Electro Voice subwoofer. You can see I have that also off screen. I don't know if you guys know how small my room is for filming stuff, so I have to put this outside. But as you can see, with both of them plugged in, it's drawing about 50 watts of power. Now you can see it's really nice that it tells me that based on what I'm drawing currently, I can run this for 32.6 hours, approximately. And again, it will move around based on how much power you draw and stuff like that, but incredibly nice that it'll tell you how many hours you have left to use this. That's been really helpful, and I'll go over it more when I talk about my experience of using it with my bands. And again, also you can plug in USB output, and you can charge my iPad or something like that from the USB output. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple to use. Over here on the left side, this is where we have the spot for the battery expansion as well as DC in and AC in. So this is the battery expansion, which I'll show you here in a second. And then this is a slot for your DC input, and this is a slot for your AC input. The thing that I like about this also is that everything has a cover for it. Literally every part has some sort of cover to protect it. So most people will plug into this AC input in order to charge the battery. Something really nice about this is when you plug it in, you can see these 2 dots right here. They line up. It's pretty much impossible to screw it up. Plug that in. Make sure that it's screwed in. And then plug this in into the wall. And you can see that it's charging. You can see the AC input right here, and also tell you how much longer it will take to fully charge. I charged this since my last gig, so it just says 0.1 hour to finish charging. Oh, and actually it just finished charging right there. Now to connect the battery, if you want to use one of the external batteries to get more power or more life out of the battery, use this cable right here, which is included. It plugs in here, and it has this lock right here on the top. So you switch that in to lock it, and then you cannot unlock it, and it won't accidentally get unplugged. When you're ready to unplug it, switch it to unlock, and then you still have to push down on this button in order to unplug it. So pretty tough to unplug the battery by accident. So here's the battery. You have 2 spots right here. One port will be for connecting to the main power station, and the other port will be for connecting a second battery because you can connect two batteries in the main power station for even more life. So I'm going to plug into the battery over here the exact same way that it plugged into the main unit. And now you can see that it is connected. The battery also gives you a battery indicator over here to let you know the percentage of battery life that you have left over here. You do also have a single USB-A slot over here for charging as well, which is a nice touch. But again, just use it like you would anything else. I've plugged in my HX Stomp and you can see that it's powering it. It's pretty much it. It's very, very straightforward. Also included, you do get cables for DC power. So this one's for a car charging cable. You also have this one, which is the DC input cable for that port that I mentioned at the beginning. And you also have this one, which can be used for solar charging and stuff like that. These connect together really easily. I personally haven't been using these, but I'll post some images on the screen showing you how you might use some of these to fit your needs. Really cool that they give you all these options. Okay, so what are watt hours? So watt hours with a power station like this are going to show you the total amount of energy a power station can store and provide to your gear. So this one specifically is 2048 watt hours. Let's just simplify the math really quick and just make it 2000 just for simplicity's sake. So if all of your music gear is drawing 2000 watts, you can use this system for 1 hour. If you're drawing just 1 watt, you can run it for 2,000 hours with this device. So to calculate how long you can use a power station with your setup, you need to know how many watts you're drawing with all of your equipment. The equation for this is watt hours of the power station divided by the watts you are drawing equals the number of hours you can use the power station. So for example, if you're drawing 200 watts, 2,000 divided by 200 equals 10 hours. And if you're drawing 50 watts, like I demoed at the beginning with my Helix and my EV subwoofer, 2,000 watt hours divided by 50 watts means that I could run that for 40 hours on this portable power station. Does that make sense? Watt hours divided by the amount of watts you're drawing equals the total number of hours that you can use this. What's really nice about this is that when you plug it in, it shows you how many hours that you can use this. That's what I really like about this system. That's really nice that it does the calculation right there for you. I remember with the battery expansion, you can connect 2 of those B300K expansion batteries, and each of those have 2,764.8 watt hours. So if you use 2 of those with the AC200L, that would be a total of 7,577.6 watt hours. That's quite a bit of power. Obviously, I wouldn't run Coachella off of that, but for most musicians' needs who are trying to run a show off of a portable power station like this, I think most people will have what they need either with the base unit or with 1 or 2 of the battery expansions. But they do have bigger ones too, and I will go over that a little bit later. If you do need to know how many watts you are drawing, there is this portable little power strip that I've been using. It'll show you watts as well as a couple of other things on there. I'll link to that down below if you do want to check it out, just so you can check. I think most musicians will actually be able to use this for their needs, which brings me to my experience with using this live with my bands. Before I do that, if you are finding the video helpful, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. It's a free way to support the channel and feed the YouTube algorithm gods, and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. So at the first show, I was super conservative with this because it was my first time doing something like this. I brought the power station as well as the expansion battery. I waited till the last minute to turn stuff on. I basically got everything kind of plugged in and then turned it on right before we needed to sound check. Ran it all night, had 0 issues all night. Nothing was wrong with the power or anything. We played about 2.5 hours of music plus sound check. And at the end of the night, we still had 86% left, which was pretty crazy. Well, I didn't even need that extra battery at all. It was definitely a little bit quieter night. It was a smaller room. It wasn't anything super massive or anything like that. I ran 2 of my EV Evolve 50 speakers. We had lighting, as well as all of our wireless gear and in-ear monitors and stuff like that. Those aren't going to draw a whole lot. Your speakers are going to be kind of the big ones. Do keep in mind, we do play with direct rigs for guitars. We don't have guitar amps or anything like that. Guitar amps are going to draw a lot more power. That is something that's really nice about having direct rigs. But again, still, we used up 15% of this battery. That was pretty insane to see. Yeah, so this is the main battery, and then this is the other one that ran the entire show.
I'm gonna quit this band.
So the next show that we did this for was for our New Year's Eve show. Same band, 90% 90s, my 90s cover band. This one was still at a smaller place, but you know, it's a much bigger sound. It's New Year's Eve, so our singer brought 2 of his 18-inch subwoofers. We had 3 different tops, one on the left, one on the right. And we also had a center fill. Of course, all of our in-ear monitors and wireless and all of that stuff as well. This one we played for 4 hours. We also had sound check and stuff like that. I just brought the main power station. I didn't bring the external battery for 4 hours plus the sound check and all of that stuff. So we probably had it on for about 5 to 6 hours, probably 5.5 hours. Had it set pretty loud, and we still had 39% left. So we had about 4 to 5 hours left in the tank that we could have used this system. Pretty crazy. We could have ran that for 10 hours, and that was without the battery expansion. That's pretty amazing. As far as the specs, I'm going to post them on the screen. Pause the screen if there's anything you're specifically looking for. But the battery capacity is 2,048 watt hours. It has over 3,000 life cycles, which is really good to see. So it'll last quite a while. For the output, we already went over that a little bit, but it's 2,400 watts in total. The weight of it is about 62 pounds. So it is pretty heavy, but I mean, it's a large power generator. They are going to be. And you have a 5-year warranty, which is very nice. They do also tell you the recharge options as well as the recharge time. It's really nice that they tell you how long it would take to charge this. And something that's also really cool is that you can charge this in your car while you're driving as well, which is really helpful. But if you're interested in any of the other specs, go ahead and pause the screen now. As of the time of shooting, it's currently listed at $12.99. That is for the power station itself. And if you want to get any of the expansion batteries, those are also listed at $12.99. But don't forget, you can get 5% off of your entire purchase if you use promo code ScottYulMusic at checkout. I will have links down below where you can check this out for yourself. And also be sure to go onto their website and you can see the different options that they have. So if you need, more watt hours, they do have more options than just this one. But I do think this one is a really good bang for the buck for most people's music needs. But again, always get the system that's right for you and your needs. So again, you're going to have to do a little bit of research. If you're a 12-piece band and your bass player and your guitar player have massive full stack setups and you're trying to play with much bigger speakers and stuff like that, obviously you're just going to have to do a little bit more research. But again, you get options with that battery expansion, as well as they do have bigger models as well. Most musicians, it's 1 or 2 subs and then 2 tops, especially if you're using like direct rigs and stuff like that. This is definitely more than enough for most people's situation. I think with a system like this, especially for the fact that it can expand, is really cool and it'll fit what most people need. I love that something like this is just very, very straightforward. There's not a whole lot to it, and especially because it tells you how many hours you have left while using a system like this. That's pretty much what I was looking for. It's very well designed. The options there are very simple. I love it. I'm going to continue to use it. Like I said, I've played so many places with shady power or just iffy power lately. Sometimes I do get asked if we can play in places where there is no power. And plus, this thing is also just great in case if the power goes out in my house or something like that. So I love it. I'm going to continue to use it. And if you found that this is something that is right for you and your needs, there are links down below so you can check this system out for yourself. Once again, many thanks to Bluetti for sending this over for me to check out. Every time I say that, it sounds like Blue Eddie, like the guy's name, Eddie. That's all I hear every time I say it. It's Bluetti. But anyway, if you guys found the video helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're interested in a way to power your gear on very small gear like pedals, stuff that's run on 9, 12, or 15 volt power supplies, check out my video on the MyVolt Step Up. And you also can check out my most recent video by clicking the links on your screen now. Thank you guys again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on my social media pages. I'll have links down below in the description. If you have any of the cool gear you want me to check out, leave them as a comment down below. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.